much of the Western world was very open for immigration. Starting with our doctors, then our professors, now you have actually the IT professionals going all across the Western world, especially the English-speaking world. But that open...
Not necessarily the English-speaking world.
But
there are some non-English speaking which have actually shown very strong growth in recent
I'm talking
times.
about historically. But across the world, both English-speaking and non-English-speaking world, there is a political and social backlash against too much immigration. So that tension between, the economic needs require some foreign talent, but at the same time, political and social pressures to limit or restrict that immigration. We're seeing that in the H-1B debate in the US. I mean, how are you dealing with this tension that is unfolding?
Well, I think a lot of these are issues, Raj, which they have to resolve. Because in many cases, the actual crisis has nothing to do with the mobility of the incoming workforce. I mean, if there are concerns, let us say, in the United States or even in Europe, it is because they very consciously and deliberately over the last 2 decades allowed their businesses to relocate. That was their choice, it was their strategy. So if there is pressure on jobs in many of the developed countries, the pressure on jobs is less because people came in those sectors. It is more because they allowed manufacturing to go out, and you know where.
Yeah.
So I think they have to find ways of fixing it, and many of them are, because if you see, it isn't only about concerns about immigration or mobility. It is also about loss of jobs and about recreating manufacturing and pulling back, what was allowed to leave over many decades. So I can't give you a simple answer to it, but the part which concerns us is to convince them that mobility, the use of talent across boundaries, is to our mutual benefit. That they would be net losers if they actually erect too many roadblocks to the flow of talent. And particularly if you move into an era of advanced manufacturing, if this will be, you will need more talent, not less talent.
Yeah.
And talent cannot be organically developed at a high rate. There is a certain structural impediment out there. So, and in their own societies, you can see the tension. Often the people in the forefront of entrepreneurship and technology would actually make the case for mobility. It is the people who I would say have a certain political base or a constituency to address who may oppose it, and they will probably reach some modus vivendi there.
So some kind of a new balance between the economic and political should be worked out. Will be,
yes, but also some kind of new balance between the mobility of people and the mobility of work. If it becomes harder for people to travel, the work's not going to stop.
Yeah.
Okay? So if people don't travel, the work will travel.
So either insourcing or outsourcing,
Again, if I were to sum up the changes of the last decade in 2 parts. One is to create the kind of SOPs, the practices for this to happen, because it's not that easy. If the Ministry of External Affairs were to ask the Air Force or the Ministry of Defense to send out planes, to send out ships, or to ask airline carriers to dedicate planes, unless they are habituated, unless it has been worked out in advance, it doesn't happen. Unless you have a culture even within our own system, let us say of, I don't want in a crisis someone saying, where is the authorization to house, 1,000 people who have landed up at my doorstep. So we've actually had to undergo in many ways a change in our own attitudes and thinking, that if there is a crisis, if there is a problem, I mean, solve it. I mean, you have the resources, you have the flexibility, you are empowered to do it. The systems are ready. I mean, we've all practiced it a lot. I mean, every time we do an operation, can be big ones. And when I look back, I mean, the first one for me, when I came back as Foreign Secretary 2015 was Yemen, But now I've even forgotten, in the last 12 years, how many of these we've done. I mean, we've done Afghanistan, we did Israel, we did Iran, we did Sudan. I'm not talking of first responder disaster. I'm talking of bringing back Indians from conflict situations. And what has happened is we have kind of honed a system where we even have a unit in the ministry. I mean, the moment you kind of flick a switch, they know, okay, get moving on this. So that's one I would say important part of it. The other part of it is, this we do get. I mean, it's understandable that chief ministers, state governments write to us, but we also try to make them understand that look, once you leave the shores of India, for us, you are Indians. So I can understand the pressures and compulsions on a chief minister. So we hear it, we absorb it, but at the end of the day, it just feeds into a national metrics of a plan which we deploy outside.